Rio Talk. This is
Noah Garcia.
And this is
Danielle and Students.
And we're here to basically talk about some new shows upcoming up. I'm here to basically talk about some exciting news that if you like anime, honestly, you don't even have to like anime to watch this show. It's pretty just hilarious and great. But One Punch Man is getting a season 2. Deuce. Yes, it's been freaking confirmed, baby. And if you don't know what One Punch Man, it's basically about this anime that this guy is got this. It's like Dragon Ball Z, but just like on steroids or a lot of drugs. It's really amped up action, and it's really hysterical in the sense that how he gets all this power is like through 100 sit-ups and 100 push-ups, some dumb like that. Just what? And like he ends up finding like some galactic space pirate at the end of the first season and stuff like that. So it's really good action. The animation is phenomenal. If you like that kind of stuff, would recommend it.
What's interesting about this particular show that's being made is that we can look at a lot of American television shows, and it's by season, every year, renewed. But you're noticing a lot of animation type shows such as these, not only do they take their time, but they can take several, even years to come out with another season. I can reference to another anime show that came out called Attack on Titan, and that took several years, maybe 3, 4, until a second season came out. So it's this really interesting development where we're seeing these shows that are being developed right after each other. Like we look at Riverdale, it's every single year. There's like 2 seasons or something like that, where we look at comparative to these animation shows that take several years. So it's just interesting. Like, are you trading that quality or the impact it has on people today? Because it's just, how relevant can something be if it's only around for 1 year and then come back? Will people still care?
I think if it's good enough. So like the reason why One Punch Man, or like in my opinion, would probably take a little longer is simply because the animation is really, really phenomenally good, and that's probably why it would take a little bit extra time with it. And I should probably mention when it's coming out. The new season is not going to come out for, I think, at least on Crunchyroll till next year, later next year. I believe that's pretty sure that's what it is, end of next year. But yeah, is that this animation? It's very expensive. It's not easy to do, and it takes a lot of time. It's
so you don't want what happened with Sailor Moon Crystal happen, where it's like horrible animation that they had to redo over again,
and then no one likes. Yeah,
and no one likes. You want to take your time and make sure that this is a show people are going to watch again, because, like you said, it can take a while to come out again.
Especially if that's the main draw of the show, because like I said, it's not really a show you're going to look and get all emotionally invested in these characters. You don't really care about much of these characters. You just want to see them punch things. And so if it's about that kind of thing with not necessarily about story, the animation style and fight scenes have to be phenomenal, and it definitely is.
If we can also just talk about the fact that a lot of American television is based on different sources of media, books, whatever, but a lot of anime can be directly related to the books, the manga that comes out there. So it's this thing where you also have to wait, and sometimes they go on their own thing, and that's also very interesting.
Oh yeah. So have you read the One Punch Man manga or just the anime?
No, I'm a total noob, and not a good weeb, so I did not read the manga.
I don't know what any of those words are.
Alright then. Continuing on, you have some news from Netflix side?
Just continuing with our media frenzy, introducing you to things that are coming back up. The show End of the Effing World has just been renewed, which is really interesting because it had a very lackluster release. Some people were very interested in talking about it. It's a show that's about this one kid who classifies himself as a psychopath, and it's just really a journey and a look into a very interesting perspective on English youth and parentage over there, and it's being renewed, and for some of us that's great, and for others there are other shows that people would rather have be renewed. But it's always funny because Netflix never really releases their numbers, so it's just, is there any other, I know you both have seen it, do you think this show deserved a second season?
I think it does, because one thing I like about it, it's kind of like in my opinion, it's like a teenager Hannibal show. So it's really about a guy that, in all actuality, is probably a psycho. But I recently, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but I watched this recently TED Talk about this one dude that was, he left the white nationalist movement and stuff like that. And he said about that, all life comes down to, when your decisions you're making, is potholes. So yes, you see this guy who's a psychopath, and he's capable of doing these awful, terrible things. But you also see that these little potholes come up, and like, is he gonna choose? Is he gonna choose the bad side? Is he gonna go down the dark path where you think he's gonna go, or is he gonna somehow find another reason to live, or he's gonna find another outlook on life where he can look a little bit more happy upon it? And although the show is mainly about one person, the female, I forget her name, but she plays the girlfriend on the show. She was probably my favorite part of the show by far because her acting, in my opinion, was incredible. So I think it deserves it. I think though for it to fully work, it needs to nail it out of the park.
So what you want to talk about something that's being re-released, a continuation of an old show. What was it?
Oh, and then we have Glow. Glow
Okay.
is the Glorious Ladies of Wrestling, and that show is going to get its season 3 premiere. It's not about the actual women of Glow, but it is about a fictional world, and it's in the 80s, which I feel like Netflix has kind of been leaning towards
Okay, so
more.
this is another Netflix show.
Another Netflix show.
Okay.
Alongside Hulu is going to be bringing back Veronica Mars, and it's going to be bringing back Kristen Bell. I think other stars are going to be contacted, but there's not much information outside of that.
When was the last time Veronica Mars was on just regular television?
I don't remember for sure. It was a while.
Was,
Yeah, it was
middle
a
school?
while.
We'll go with middle school.
It was like 7 years at least, right? Or
It's
more?
like 2012.
Yeah, like it was a long time. Let's just
Too
put it.
many years.
It's a long time in TV status, but I think it does have that following where it can come
Okay.
back and like make it pretty
Do you
well.
think that shows that do have such a cult follow, maybe not a cult, but just an appeal to a lot of people, should have the right to come back to another platform like this? Because a lot of places like Netflix, what was that show that they brought back for like a season? Was it 30 Rock or
Well,
something?
Yeah.
they brought back a lot
What
of
was it
stuff.
called?
Oh, Arrested Development. They also
Arrested Development. Like,
It's kind of a hard topic because it's like, do we want old stuff to come back and potentially ruin what made the old one good? Also, are we not giving a chance to newer media
Yeah.
because a lot of things are now remakes or continuations or even like a reboot?
yeah.
I would think it depends.
Yeah.
So, for instance, let's bring a hypothetical. If you were to try to bring back that '70s show, right, you would need to understand that the original source material for that show, at least with people who watched it, and there's a lot of us because we all grew up in that same time period, it kind of considered the holy grail of teenager shows. I mean, at least to us. So you have to understand that like that source material is kind of sacred, and have to walk the line of okay, so let's respect that, but bring in new stuff. And that's a really hard balance. That's a super hard balance. That's why you don't see a lot of remakes of all these shows, at least in my humble opinion. But
Well, technically, Charm's coming back, right? That witch show, and then I
But-
think Buffy is also.
Is Buffy coming back?
is
I
she
think it's
coming
reported
back?
like they're constantly like kind of teasing
I
it.
would not want Buffy to come back.
I want Buffy. Yeah,
Just
no,
because-
that ended good.
I understand bringing shows back.
They had a
but
comic though, continuing it, right?
Yes.
So did Angel.
They're-
The thing is that show, it had a final and it wrapped up everything really nice. And
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
don't. Is it like a reboot of the?
I feel like it would be a reboot. Like a lot of the like news things have been like, oh, they're gonna cast more POC in the roles and stuff like that. It kind of
Is Charmed a reboot or is
Charmed
it like a?
is a reboot.
Yeah.
Charmed originally,
That's
and
gonna be on Sundays on the CW.
it's just coming back like recently.
Okay.
And that one also hired more POC for the roles instead too, I believe, right?
I don't
But
know, just as someone who casually watched Charmed, I'm not.
Yeah.
I understand. It's
It's-
very nitpicky. It's very
I
nitpicky.
casually watched it.
I don't know, but like Charm also kind of fell in that campy realm, so I feel like you have a lot more like wiggle room with stuff like that compared
gonna
to
be all
like the
dark,
70s
huh?
show. Yeah, like I always think like you have more wiggle room for some stuff. Like when Voltron came back, you had the wiggle room. Voltron was kind of a silly show, and if you watch the old episodes,
Yeah.
It's very silly.
Just speaking of, sorry to interrupt, of kind of schlocky shows that are coming back dark and serious. Sabrina the Teenage Witch is on Netflix, and it's going to be apparently a similar tone to Riverdale.
the comic books are more dark tone
Yeah.
as well. So that's interesting.
So people are gonna like get pregnant and like like.
no, it's
They're
gonna be
gonna
more
have
like
demons
dark
and
magic.
Oh, okay. Like I was thinking like high school show, like high school
Probably
drama.
that too with those.
Well, that, but with magic. Like, oh, I turned
Okay.
my boyfriend into a
So,
demon.
like-
What a
Oh.
wacky adventure.
I feel like they kind of had to tread that carefully because again, the most people when they remember Sabrina the Teenage Witch, they do remember it kind of as a campy but like sweet, fun show.
the campy
like
WB
if you know
show.
about the comics, you do know about the dark side.
The
but
cat puppet.
the
too.
cat puppet,
I loved it.
he was amazing.
Hey, I love the Sabrina the Teenage Witch cartoon show. Shout out to anyone who watched that.
I know
Shout
what you're
out.
talking about. I know what you're talking about.
It is kind of hard though. Like he said, it's like do you want to see these things remade, especially when they are like campy stuff. He said it could go dark. I do think Voltron kind of falls more like it wants to take itself serious but still have fun moments in it. So that depends. But like then there's Sabrina Teenage Witch is like gonna straight up have like probably possession. If we're
Probably.
honest. Probably
And
a possession.
I mean, see, like for me, like this is an example I like to bring up. It's not a TV show, but they're remaking Spawn, and Jamie Foxx is going to be the new Spawn movie. I love the original Spawn movie. It was a terrible movie. Blade was much better. Would recommend. But there's certain things I did like about it, and I like the new direction they're going with it. So like it's going to be a monster movie, but Spawn, the superhero we all grew up with the comics, is going to be like the Jason Voorhees of the superhero movies. Like so it's going to be like a serial killer monster movie where he's the monster. That sounds super dope and super different. Like just nothing I would expect any Marvel or DC movie to release. So I'm excited. Will it turn out good? Who knows?
On that note, I think that's all the time we have, right? Any other last notes you want to leave off with?
Nothing. Thank you for watching our sort of tangent on series that are being renewed for this fall and upcoming projects. For more videos like this, make sure to check out the website at elpaisanoonline.com. I'm Noah Garcia.
Jake Laurel.
Danielle and Sidis.
Thank you for watching.